So how many different cases have we gone over so far this week? Or situations? Yeah? Yeah, we've done 3. We've done the case where you add them right away and something cancels. We've done the case where you can't add them right away, but you can multiply one of them by -1 and then they cancel. That would be a problem like this one. And then we've done the case where you have to multiply by a number other than -1 in one of the equations. But we've never had to multiply in both at the same time. And that's what we're going to look at right now. So this is the last 2 cases for elimination. Okay. I'm not going to really go through all 3. I just kind of did that with you, reviewing each one. So you guys already have the first 3 written down in your notes. I've been going through them basically from easiest to hardest. So case 1 is the easiest. And then we've gotten up to case 3. And then the last 2, they're not like really hard, but they're the ones you got to think about the most. Okay? You got to kind of figure something out. All right, let's look at case 4. First, before you even write anything down, just look at the equations. You can see you do not have a single positive variable anywhere. You've got a 2, a 4, a 5, and a 3. So what are we going to do? So it says, what are you looking for? We're going to look at the number with the smaller variable and see if we can multiply it by something. I'm trying to think if I want to reword that a little bit. So number with smaller variable. I'm gonna reword that. I want to just change how that's. Yeah. Okay. So that's worded better. See if the variable with the smaller number can be multiplied by something to get that number in the other equation. So when I look at here, I'm looking at the 2 is the smaller variable in the top. The 3 is the number with the smaller value in the bottom. My goal is to see, can I multiply 3 by something to get 5? A nice number. Can we easily multiply 3 by something to get 5? 80? Can you multiply 3 by something to get 5? No, not unless you use a fraction. So we're going to stay away from that. All right, let's look at the other smaller number, 2. Can you multiply 2 by something to get 4? What do you think, Mike? Yeah, then that's the one we're going to want to look at. So what do? We're going to multiply. I should fix that one too. We're going to multiply the variable with the smaller number. All right, so it seems a little confusing. It's not as confusing to just do it as it is to try to explain it. So there's nothing we can multiply 3 by to get 5, but there is something we can multiply 2 by to get 4. So that's the one we're going to want to look at. What could you multiply 2x by to make it the opposite of 4x? Yeah, exactly, -2. So if you were doing this problem, you'd put a -2 in the box, and -2 would get multiplied to everything in the top equation. Because when you multiply 2x by -2, you get -4x. And then in the bottom, you have positive 4x. And then they cancel. So that's the step. You look for the smaller number and ask yourself, can I multiply that smaller number by something to make it the opposite of the big number? That's what you have to do. If you can't multiply a number by something to get the one above it or below it, then that's probably not the one we want to look at. because you'd have to multiply 3 by a fraction to get 5. We're going to stay away from using fractions. So the template that we use is exactly the same. There's no change in the diagram that I'm giving you to do the problem. Okay, just a couple reminders though. When you write equations on those blue lines, they have to be lined up. X's, Y's, and then the numbers. So before you put anything there, make sure they are lined up. Okay, I don't think there's anything you have to write down here, but these are the steps that we're going to follow as we solve the next problem. Make sure everything's lined up. Think about the different cases we've learned. Start with the easiest one, and then work your way towards the harder one. If we get an easy problem, let's just do it the easiest way we can. If we have to do case 4 or 5, then that means we had a harder problem. All right, let's try it. So first thing I want to look at before we even think about like what case it is or anything, is it lined up the way it should? Let's just answer that question first. Yeah. If it's already lined up the way it should be, you can copy them down onto the blue lines right away. 6x minus 2y equals negative 8. And 3x plus 7y equals 4. So now what you want to do is look at the smaller number in each equation and ask yourself, is there something I could multiply the smaller number by to get the bigger number? Start with the y's. Okay, so start looking at this column. Is there something you can multiply 2 by to get 7? And I don't want to use decimals. Lexi? No. So then we're not going to look at that column because you can't easily multiply 2 by something to get 7. Right? Then let's look at the x column. Look at the smaller number. Is there something you can multiply 3 by to get 6? Yeah? Yeah. So we can multiply this by something to get that. So this is the column we want to focus on. All right. We have a 6x in the top. What would you have to have in the bottom that would cancel out 6x when you combine it together? What cancels out 6x? Yeah? 6x plus 6x would give you 12x. Right. We need a negative 6x. So somehow we need to make that a negative 6x. And then it will cancel with positive 6x. What could I put in this box? So when I distribute it to everything, this, what I circled, turns into negative 6x. Yeah? Yeah, negative 2. So we're going to multiply the top by negative 2. Or I'm sorry, bottom by negative 2. The top, we're not going to do anything. So we still don't need to use both boxes. That's going to be case 5. Okay. So what am I going to do to equation 1 when I put it in this spot over on the right? Yep. You're just going to copy down the same one. 6x minus 2y equals negative 8. And now, what am I going to do to the bottom equation to copy it down on the right? I'm not just going to copy it the way it is. Yep. I'm going to times everything by negative 2. Can you tell me what I get, Aiden, if I multiply everything by negative 2? Negative 6x, yep.
Plus negative 14y.
All right, since it's plus a negative number, I'm just going to write minus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to put minus 14y
Equals negative 8.
equals negative 8. Perfect. Okay. And from here, it's exactly the same as what we've been doing in homework. What do I do with these two equations now? Here, what do I do? Yeah, we have to add them up. And can you tell me when you add the first column, what happens? Cancels out. How about when you add the second column? What is it? If it was 2 plus 14, it would be 16. But it's -2 plus -14. That'd be 14 minus 2. They're both negative, so what do we get when we combine a -2 with a -14? Jordan?
-16.
-16. So -16y. And what about -8 plus -8?
That would also be -16.
That would also be -16. Okay. And Alyssa, what do I do to finish that up and get y by itself? Yep, divide by -16. And Micah, what does that give me? And what will I put inside the circle? 1. Yep. So y is 1. All right, so we got y. Caleb, what do I still need to find?
You need to find x.
Still need to find x. Let's just write that down. X. And how am I going to use the 1 to find x?
You're going to plug it in
Yeah.
for one of the equations.
And which one do you think would be easier to plug back into?
The top one.
Okay, so we're going to take that. Again, you're not wrong if you pick the bottom one. You just pick whichever one is easier. You should get the same answer. If you plug it into each equation and you got different answers, then this number is wrong. It's not right. Okay, so let's plug it back in and see what we get. 6x. All right, minus 2 times 1 equals -8. Okay, so I'll do the 2 times 1 part. Just get 2. All right, and Abby, what's my my next step?
Add the 2 to both sides.
Add 2 to both sides. Good. -2 plus 2 is going to cancel out. And now, Brady, on the left side, what do I have?
Have a 0. Oh no. 12.
6x. So on the left side we have 6x, and what about on the right side, Natalie? -6. Yep. And Emily, to finish that up and get x by itself, what do we have to do on both sides? Yep, divide by 6. And Joe, if I divide both sides by 6, what does that give me for x?
1.
Careful, it's a negative divided by a positive.
-1.
-1. That's good. Any question on that one? Okay, again, idea, pick one of the columns to look at and see if you can multiply the smaller number by something to get the bigger number. If you can, that's the column you want to use. If you can't multiply the smaller number by something to get the bigger number, that's not the column you want to use then. Because if you try to use it, you're going to get fractions. You could, but it's going to make the work a lot harder. So don't get into fractions. Yeah. All right, let's let me. I want to do that one. Let's see. Okay, so I think a lot of people figured out which column here is the column to work with. Is it the X column or the Y column? Yeah? Yeah. Because you can multiply the smaller number by something to get the bigger number. Okay, that's what we want to have. So let's look at what's going on. We've got a negative 4y. What cancels out negative 4y? Yeah? Positive 4y. So the goal then is to make this a positive 4y because it'll cancel out what's above it. We don't need this box. But what would you need to put in the bottom box? So when you distribute, you get what Natalie just said. Positive 4y. Yep. 2. Now, remember, when you put that 2 there, it applies to everything. This, and this. That's one of the mistakes I saw some people make. They didn't multiply everything by 2. Like they forgot something. Okay, what's going to happen to the top equation? Yeah, it stays the same. We just copy it over. This is the last problem we're going to do today where you're going to be able to just copy something without changing it. The next problem, they're both going to change. So top one stayed the same. In the bottom, everything gets doubled. What's my equation if I double everything in the bottom? Yeah.
It would be 8x plus 4y equals 12.
Yep.
Just use an average.
Yeah. And now, let's add them up. Brady, what do I get when I add those up?
You add those up. 11.
Anything else?
Oh, 11x.
11x, yep.
So you want to add them all?
Yeah, we'll do the whole thing.
11x. That'd be 0.
So the y's cancel. Yep.
So,
So just add the numbers up in their columns. What's 1 plus 2?
3.
And then 2 plus 1. So 33. Yep. So 11x equals 33. And then finish it up by dividing both sides by 11. Okay, what do we get for x? We're going to get a nice answer, yeah. We're going to get 3. Okay, still need to find y. So we're going to take the 3 and fill it back in. Which equation do we want to fill it back into? The top or the bottom? Yeah. Bottom? Okay. So let's take this and put it back in right there. So we're going to have 4 times 3 plus 2y equals 6. Okay, Aiden, what's 4 times 3 going to give me? 12. And Michael, how would I move that 12 to the other side? Subtract 12 from both sides. And Alyssa, what's 6 minus 12 going to give me? 12 minus 6 would be 6. But this is 6, take away 12. Negative 6, yep. So 2y equals negative 6. Dorian, how do I finish that up?
Divide both sides by 2.
And that's going to give me how much?
Negative 3.
Perfect. So y equals negative 3. Okay, any question on that one? So that's a situation, or that's case 4, because you don't have any single variables. But luckily, you have a number that you can multiply by in the bottom to get the opposite of the number in the top. Don't write it down yet, but let's look at something like that. Okay, we're going to do that one in a minute. If we add them up directly, does anything cancel out? Okay, Mike? No, so it's not situation 1. Do we have a single positive variable that is the same in both equations? Sophie?
No.
No, then it's not situation 2. Do we have at least a single positive variable in one equation? Natalie?
No.
No, we don't have any single positive variable, so it's not situation 3. Okay, is it the one we just learned? Can you look at one of these columns and multiply the smaller number by something to get the bigger number? Monica? No, we can't do that either. So that's situation 5. So what we have to do in situation 5 is we're going to multiply this equation and this equation by something. Okay, we're going to have to use both boxes. Okay, so let me show you situation 5. So you guys have on the back of your notes, you got a box at the top. Should be plenty of space, hopefully. Situation 5 is when it's none of the above. Just like we went through, it's none of them. So what does that mean? You're going to have to multiply both boxes. Here's another example of a problem that would be situation 5. The quick way to tell that it's situation 5 is you don't have any single variables anywhere, and you can't multiply the smaller one to get the bigger one. That's the worst case. All right, so what are we going to do? All right, we're going to choose one of the columns to work with. Which one? Doesn't matter. Either one. I try to pick the numbers that I think are smaller or easier to work with. So in this case, what would I consider the smaller pair? A 3 and a 4 or a 5 and a 2? I don't know, either one really. It's not like one of them's like 37 and a 50, and then the other one's like a 2 and a 5. It's not super clear which pair is smaller. So pick any pair you want. Let's say we pick the x's. What you're going to do is you're going to multiply each equation by the number from the other equation. Well, what does that mean? The top equation is going to get multiplied by a 4. And the bottom equation is going to get multiplied by something with a 3. So the bottom gets multiplied by the number in the top, and the top gets multiplied by the number in the bottom. You may have to use a negative, because remember the goal is to make them opposite sounds. Okay, so we'll do one together, and then I'll let you guys try the last one on your own. Okay, but again, the top equation is going to get multiplied by something with a 4, maybe a negative, maybe not. And the bottom equation is going to get multiplied by something with a 3. Maybe a negative, maybe not. Depends. So in case 5, you're not putting an x in either one of these boxes. You're going to put numbers in both. Let's try case 5. Okay, quick way to tell that it's case 5. There's no single variables anywhere. That eliminates cases 1, 2, and 3 right away. I also can't multiply the smaller number to get the bigger number in either one of them. Now, in this case, I think it is a little bit clearer which column has the smaller pair of numbers. Is it the x column or is it the y column? Yeah, it's definitely the y column. So that's the column we're going to focus on. Speaking of columns, is everything lined up the way it should be? Yeah, so let's copy them down. 4x minus 3y equals 8. And 5x minus 2y equals negative 11. Okay, so remember the goal. We want to end up with the same number, same letter, but I want to have opposite signs. So the bottom equation is going to be multiplied by something with a 3. The top equation is going to be multiplied by something with a, can they tell me the number at the top? Yep, a 2. Let's figure out, though, if we need to make one of them negative. So the top equation gets multiplied by something with a 2. Let's just put that there temporarily. And the bottom equation gets multiplied by something with a 3. Remember, the column we're focusing on is the y's. So let's just see what would happen to the y's if we do that. What's negative 3y times 2? Yeah? Okay, so I'm just going to put that right here for a second. That'd be a negative 6y. Let's see what would happen in the bottom. What's 3 times negative 2y? Yeah? Negative 6y. If you add those together, do they cancel? Negative 6 and negative 6. No, but we're really close. Right? We almost have them cancel. We have the same letter. We have the same number. We just need one of these to be a positive and not a negative. So how can I change one of these numbers? It doesn't matter which one you change. You could change either one. Yeah?
Make it a negative.
Yeah, just make one of them a negative. Let's do it in the top. So let's make the top a negative, and let's see what happens. Brady, what's 4x times negative 2?
4x times negative 2 would be
Negative 8x. How about negative 2 times negative 3y? Yep. 6y. And negative 2 times 8. Yeah. Negative 16. Now the bottom, we're going to multiply by 3. 5x times 3 is 15x. Joe, what's 3 times negative 2y?
negative
6
Y.
y. Yes, good. Negative 6y. And what's 3 times negative 11? So
Negative 33.
negative 33. Perfect. So now, if you pick the right numbers, a column should cancel. If it doesn't, we didn't pick the right numbers. Okay, so if we do negative 8 plus 15, that's going to give me 7x. How about positive 6y and negative 6y? What happens there, Sean? That cancels out. That's elimination. That's what you wanted to happen. It was the hardest type of elimination, but we got it. And negative 16 and a negative 33, that's a negative 49. Okay, and as usual, looks like we are going to get a nice answer. What's my last step on both sides? Yeah.
Divide.
Yep. And what are you going to divide by?
negative 7.
Perfect. And negative 49 divided by 7, that's going to give me how much?
7. Negative 7.
Negative 7. Yep. Okay, now fill that back in and get y. I don't know, I guess we could fill it back into the top. Again, at this point, it's your choice where you want to fill it back in. But I think the top might be a little bit smaller numbers. All right, so 4 times negative 7 minus 3y equals 8. What's 4 times negative 7? Yeah. Negative 28. Okay, how do I put that negative 28 on the other side? Yeah.
You add it.
I'm going to add it. And what does that give me? What's 8 plus 28? Yeah.
36.
36. And my last step is to divide by... What do I divide by? Yeah. Negative 3. And do you know what that's going to come out to? Negative 12. Yep. So once you pick these two numbers and you figure that out, I think that's the hard part. And then the rest of it is the same as always. All right, so let's try one more. And we'll see, we'll get through as much as we can. But let's at least get to this part where you have to pick these numbers. I'm going to actually use this template because I don't think I have another blank one. So I'm going to have to erase one of them. So make sure you copy down anything you want to copy first. Yeah.
Question 2, in the boxes next to the equations, why is only one of the numbers negative?
Well, you don't want them both negative because if you made them both negative, you wouldn't get anything that cancels out here. Because if you made this a negative, now you'd have 6y in the top, 6y in the bottom. And when you combine them, you get 12y. They wouldn't cancel. So you needed one positive and one negative. Okay, anything else before I erase that? Okay, so this is example 2b in your notes. It's going to be 3x plus 4y equals 10. And 2x plus 3y equals 7. Okay. Any single variables by themselves? Any single variables in that one? No. So that eliminates situation 1, 2, 3 right away. Can you take the x column and multiply the 2 by something to make it a 3? No fractions. 80? No. All right, look at the y column then. Can you multiply 3 by something to make it 4? No. If this was like a 6 or something, then I'd say, yeah, we could do that. We could multiply 3 times 2 to get 6. That's not going to work. So we're going to have to multiply both equations by a number. Which pair of numbers is smaller? The numbers with the x's or with the y's? Yeah. I would say the x's, 3 and 2 is smaller than the 4 and 3. You could pick the 4 and 3. You just can have a little bit bigger numbers. Right, let's pick these. So the top equation is going to get multiplied by something with what number? Yeah? Don't worry if it's positive or negative yet. It's going to be something with a... Yeah, something with a 2. So the top equation gets multiplied by something with a 2. And the bottom equation gets multiplied by something with a... Yeah, a 3. Let's just try that and see if that would work. What's 2 times 3x? Yep. 6x. What's 3 times 2x? Yep. 6x. Do those cancel out? 6 plus 6 gives me 0? No, it doesn't cancel. So I need to change one of these to make it cancel. What do I have to do to either one of them? But just one of them, not both. Yeah? Make one of them a negative. I would just say make the top one a negative. Now let's try it. Negative 6x minus 8y And what's 10 times negative 2? Yeah. Negative 20. I didn't make this problem up, so hopefully it comes out to a nice answer. Let's see. Now, 3 times 2x is, Caleb, how much?
Wait, 2x. Wait, 2 times. Oh, yeah, 6.
6x. And 3 times 3y?
9.
9y. I like that. That's going to be pretty nice in a second. And 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, add them up. What's negative 6x and positive 6x? They cancel out. What's negative 8y plus 9y?
1y.
1y, that's a nice one. And negative 20 plus 21? Yeah, 1. So, you're actually done at that step, y equals 1. Now you plug it back in, and then you find x. Okay, but I think this is the trickiest part. Okay, so for homework, finish up that question. And then there's a worksheet online. .3 part 3.